artist. Today we're going to be making a symmetrical owl drawing that we will later then use as part of our Starry Night Owl. And all you need for this project so far is a pencil, maybe something round to trace like a glue stick, doesn't have to be very big, and a piece of paper. So let's get started. All right, I'm super excited to show you how to do. Now this is a very basic drawing. I maybe could add a few more details, but this is our goal for today. That and to maybe trace it with something dark, like a crayon or a marker. All right, so you're going to need a piece of paper. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this symmetrical. Symmetrical means the same on both sides, or it's equal on both sides. So if you divide the picture in half, at least the owl, we're not talking about the stick here. If I divide my owl in half, you can see this side and this side pretty much match. Now it might not be perfect because I'm not perfect, but as long as you're really close, it'll work out just great. So I'm going to use a glue stick. I'm not going to actually glue anything with it, but I'm going to use this to help me get my eyes. Before I do that, I'm going to fold my paper in half. Now remember the trick when you're folding, match the corners. Hold it before you start to push, and when you push down to make your crease, start in the middle and then slide side to side. Then open it up. We're not cutting or anything. We're just using this as a guide to kind of help us so that our owl can be symmetrical. So I'm going to use this round shape to make my eyes, and I'm going to put it about, it's not clear up to the top, but it's a little above halfway. And on one side near the fold, maybe about a finger space. I'm going to hold that still, and I'm going to go around the outside of my glue stick. Now, if you don't have anything to trace, you can simply just draw around it, or just draw it freehand. I'll put the other one. Now, we don't want to have this one higher or lower, and we want to have about the same amount of space. As long as you're close, it'll work. Hold that still, and then finish tracing around this one as well. I always like to start with the eyes when I draw an owl because the eyes are quite large. Now, if you watched my video last spring and learned how to draw an owl, this is similar, but not exactly the same. So I start with my eyes, and the owls have big eyes because they're nocturnal animals. Nocturnal just means that they're awake at night. So what I just did is I drew two smaller circles, one in each. Try to get it in the middle. Now I'm not perfect, but as long as they're really close, I'm going to color all of that in except for one little white spot. And I'll do the same on the other eye. All right, now my fold is the middle of my paper. And so I'm going to put the beak right on this fold. You can decide if you want it right between the eyes or if you want it a little lower. What I do for that is I draw a diamond. So I do half of the diamond on this side, and then I look at the other side and I draw the other part. All right, there we've got some nice looking eyes and a beak. Good start to our owl. All right, so this is where it gets a little more looking like an owl. So I'm going to start right on the fold, about even to where my eyes are. And what I'm going to do is I am going to draw a curved line until it touches the beak. Now it doesn't have to touch right on the corner. Mine just happened to, but if yours doesn't, I'm going to try to do the same thing. Now go slowly so it looks nice and neat. All right, so we've got the eyes and the kind of the face of the owl. I am going to then start with the body, and we're going to have a symmetrical owl. So what that means is we want to have it be the same. You don't want to have one side really lopsided and the other side completely different. So I'm going to start about right here, right under the eye, and I'm going to draw a curve. See how I kind of practice that before I start? Just one nice big curve and stop on the fold. Now I'm going to move over to the other side. So it should start in about the same place and curve out to the same place. Some people like to start at the bottom and then work their way up. It's kind of nice to practice it before. Now if you're not completely perfect, getting it symmetrical, you can always go back and try to erase or fix it. If it's close, then I say it's good enough. All right, we aren't robots or computers here drawing. We're people, and we are not going to always be perfect. Now, I'm not done with the head. I'm actually going to start up here again, right on the fold. I'm going to make a little straight horizontal line, and that is my starting line. And I'm just going to go around and touch the body. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. There you go. And then, of course, this is a bird, so it needs some wings. So I'm going to add the wing on this side, a line that curves down. Maybe I'll do the same on this side, just so that I get them kind of the same. And then I'm just going to go back up to the body. All right, so owls are hunting birds. And they hunt mice and other little rodents, and they use their feet to capture their prey. So I am going to draw their feet, his feet or her feet, it could be either. Start by doing an upside down curve here. That's a convex line. And then I'm going to put the toes. They're kind of sharp, so I'm going to go like a zigzag, up, down, up, down. It's kind of like a funny looking M. Some people like to just make the V in the middle and then go out to the sides. Whatever works best for you. And remember, yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine. If you want to make it a little different, that is okay. I'll start here. I'm going to go all the way across. This is for the branch the bird is sitting on. Now I'm going to imagine onto the other side of the foot. I'm going to draw a line to the other foot, jump over to the other side, and then just draw. Now I think I won't go all the way across. You could if you want to, but I think I'll have my branch stop here. Now that's an awful skinny branch, so I'm going to go and make this a little bit thicker. So I will start over here. Of course, you could have your branch in the other way, have it facing the other way. I'm going to keep it pretty close to the other line. I don't want to cover up all of my owl. Just go right under the feet. And I think I'm just going to go curve down like that. And what I'm going to do to finish this off is make a small branch there and another branch there. Now, if you want to make more branches, you can. That is up to you. And so if you want, you can erase this part so that the owl looks like this wing is behind the branch. I want the feet to stay looking like they're on top, so I'm going to leave those alone, and then I'm going to erase here. So now you have to make a choice, and depending what supplies are available to you, you can either use a black crayon right now. It could even be a dark blue crayon. I'm thinking of kind of a snowy owl, which snowy owls are left mostly white. They do have black in them. You could use a permanent marker if you have that available to you. Whatever you decide to use, a crayon or marker. What you don't want to use though is a Crayola or water-based marker. If it smears when it gets wet, I want you to not use that, because later on, I don't want to give too much away, next time I meet with you, I am going to show you how to do the sky. And if you have this kind of marker, we might do something kind of fun and interesting to make this look like it's a night sky, because that's when owls are awake, after all, is at night. All right, so I'm going to take whatever I have, and like I said, if you don't have a black, try using a dark blue or try using purple. Whatever you decide to trace with, crayon or marker, make sure it's something that won't smear when it gets wet, just in case we decide to get this wet later. Yes, that was a hint for next week. All right, so I am going to trace over all my lines. Now, if you are using a Sharpie, make sure you have permission from the adult in your home or in your classroom, and that you're protecting your work surface. You might have noticed today I've got a black paper underneath here. That's because Sharpie does soak through, and you don't want it to get on the table or the area where you're working. So I'm just going to trace all of these. Go around the eyes, the beak, all of my marker or all my pencil lines. I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. All right, so once I have this done, if you used a Sharpie marker like I did, you might want to go back and erase any lines that didn't get covered up with your marker. If you did this with crayon, definitely don't do that because it can smear your crayon. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of texture to my owl. And if you've ever seen pictures of snow owls, they're not solid white. They actually have some little black flecks on their feathers, just little spots. So I'm just going to add kind of a little curve so it looks like feathers in here. And it's not everywhere on them. It also should be on this. So I'm going to do some little lines for around the face. I'm going to leave that just little short lines like this. If you want to add designs on for the feathers here, you could if you want to draw lines in there. I think I'll leave mine blank, or maybe you just want to do a couple at the top like that. That might be kind of nice. You can even put lines around the eyes if you like. That's not something you have to do, or maybe you'd rather do dots. That looks kind of nice. If you like to, you can color in, I think I'll use crayon for this actually, the branch either with brown or black. I think I'm going to do black. I kind of like this black and white theme I have going on. And then there's one more thing I want us to do before we sign off for the day, and that is I want you to make a moon. Now you can choose. Moons are not always the same. Sometimes there's full moons, which is like a circle. Maybe you want it really big and you want it behind your owl. You can do a crescent moon. And I think that's what I'm going to do because I just kind of like that idea. I'm going to draw the letter C. Then I just do that again. And then I think I'll trace around that. Now, I don't want you to add any stars yet. I know that's tempting right now to do that and to get carried away with all sorts of details, but I promise you, next time we work on this, we are going to add something to the sky, and I don't want you to have anything else in the way. So yes, that's a hint, another hint. So I hope you stay tuned for next week because that's when you get to see how we add some color to our picture, and we're going to do it in a different way than we've done so far this year. So I hope you had fun drawing with me today. Feel free to change any little details, but your goal today is try to make it symmetrical. That means it's matching on both sides. All right, stay creative. Talk to you next time. Bye.